Hi, it's Dwyer, October 11th, 2023. GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, you have a situation right now, and it's a situation in the WNBA where the two teams by far who are the best in the league, they're the only two teams who went through the season losing less than 10 games. And understand, no other team's close, right? The Connecticut Sun lost 13 games. That was the third fewest, right? The team with the fourth fewest losses was Dallas with 18 losses. Just understand that the New York Liberty went through the season with only 8 losses, and the Las Vegas Aces went through the season with only 6 losses. So these are by far the two best teams in the league. They're in the WNBA Finals. Understand they have both beaten the other multiple times this year. So they know that it's possible. Right? Vegas in a best of 5, and that's important here. It's not a best of 7. This is a best of 5 finals. Vegas won the first game in Vegas. They're up 1-0. The second game is in Vegas. Then they go to New York City, where they're going to play the third and fourth game before coming back to Vegas for the fifth game if necessary. Now let me make a few points, and they're going to sound completely ridiculous, especially to Baltimore Oriole fans. Right? But first, when you have a situation like this is like Boston, LA in the NBA in the 1980s. It's unlikely that either team is going to win 3 games in a row. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, right? The Baltimore Orioles just got swept in baseball, but that was a different set of facts. Right here, you're talking about by far the two best teams in the league, right? In my experience, in situations like this, because of crowd dynamics, because of the awareness that the teams have about each other, neither of these teams is going to win 3 in a row, in my opinion. Right now, I've made different videos on the WNBA this season where I talked about how I thought the Aces were in a great position to win it all. Then after they got beaten a couple of times by the Liberty, I pointed out that you needed to hedge the play. That the Liberty, for whatever reason, seemed to have the secret sauce, the key to unlock the Aces. Well, here we are in the finals. In my opinion, you have a couple of bets on the board that you need to consider. Understand, I'm a gambler with money on both sides, right? I take my own advice. I had money on the Aces, then I saw the problems they had with the Liberty. I hedged the play with the Liberty. Wasn't that hard to do because the Aces were heavily favored, right? It's in situations involving a heavy favorite where you'll get a hedge at much greater than even money. Well, the point of this video is to say that Game 2 is pivotal. If you have money on the Aces, now is the time to hedge the play. Right? The Liberty right now are going off at a plus 300 to win the series. Don't bet on Game 2. Bet on the series. Why? Because you're getting leverage. Because, let's say, I believe the Liberty are going to do well in Game 2. Well, I could deal with a 5-point spread, Or better yet, I could say, hey, forget about 5-point spreads and, minus 110 victories. Why don't I go for a plus 300? Why don't I try to triple my money? Right? In a best of 5, understand if the Liberty win game 2, they'll have home court. Theoretically, they would never have to go back to Vegas. They might be able to win game 3 and then game 4. Right now, the Dwyer rule, 3 in a row is perilous. But at the same time, getting a plus 300 for the Liberty in game 2, if I think the Liberty are going to win game 2 or are viable, or if I simply want to hedge my bet on the Aces, right? Getting a quality team like the Liberty in any series at a plus 300 is a bargain. For the bigger risk takers, the speculators out there, you want to do better than that? Understand there's a prop on the board on who is leading this series after 3 games. Because the Aces won game 1, you're getting the Liberty at a plus 406, not even a plus 300, folks. It's higher than that. You're getting an extra 106. You're getting the Liberty at a plus 406 to be leading this series after the 3rd game. For that to happen, of course, the Liberty would have to win game 2 and game 3. But let's be real about game 3. Game 3 would be their homecoming game. Game 3 would be a bunch of New Yorkers in the arena supporting women's basketball, looking at their team as the next champion. The Liberty would have a huge home court tailwind if they win game 2 and can push this to game 3 right before game 3. So if you're looking for a hedge, if you had money on the Aces, who really are a historical team, and if you're waiting for the opportunity to hedge the play, now is that moment. Now let's double back here, right? Let's talk about some more dynamics. Understand, in my opinion, because I don't believe either of these teams can beat the other one 3 games in a row. And I understand, as I've said earlier, that I recognize that that's happened in some playoff series. But here, one team only lost 6 games in the regular season. The other team only lost 8 games. Both of these teams have beaten the other multiple times. So in this scenario, I just don't see a team having the emotional edge needed to win 3 games in a row. So what does that mean? That means that if the Aces win game 2, I believe the series is over. Right? I don't think if the Aces go up 2-0, especially the way they won game 1, close game at halftime, then they pulled away in the second half. If the Aces come out and win game 2, they could take a breather in game 3. Lose game 3, come back, close out the series in game 4. If they lose game 4 and it's all tied, game 5 would be in Vegas. I would expect Vegas to win. So to me, this is practically a game 7 for the Las Vegas Aces. Right? I would go all out if I were them. You're playing at home in front of your fans. I would go all out to win game 2. And if I did, I would start privately celebrating. Because in my eyes, with 3 cracks, games 3, 4, and 5, to close out the series would be over. Right? Just consider the reverse of the play. If you're the Liberty, you understand that you have to win game 2. You have to remain viable. Because I don't care where game 3 is going to be played. You're not going to win 3 games in a row. You're not going to win game 2, game 3, and game 4. That's if you believe, in my belief, that neither of these teams is going to win 3 games in a row. So to sum up what I'm doing, because I have money already on the Aces, because I also have some money on the Liberty, but because I love plus 300s, I'm hedging the play here. I'm the person who, when the crowd is going the other way, when the line jumps on the Liberty to plus 300, I'm the person who thinks this is do or die for the Liberty. They have to win game 2. Have to. Not only that, I'm just a mercenary. I just want to make a profit. I'm not emotionally invested in either team. Right? So I think this is going to be a game 7 for the Liberty as well. They understand, although for them it's a little bit different. Right? The Aces want to close out the series. The Liberty want to survive to have a chance in the series. In other words, the world sees a game 2 and says, well, it's a best of 5. This isn't do or die. You and I know it is for both teams. Right? Also understand the way these odds swing, and they swing big time. The plus 300 on the Liberty to win the series is just a speculative play. It's just to hedge the risk. It's just so if the Liberty win game 2, you can think to yourself, well, that's okay then. I'm in a better position than I would have been had I not placed the hedge at this moment. Right? But make no mistake, if the Liberty win game 2, folks, they're going to be favored to win the series. They're going to go from a plus 300 underdog to the favorite. Why? Because they will have snatched home court. And because the world will then think, oh, they're going to win the next 2 games at home. They never have to go back to Vegas. Right? You're going to hear stories about the fact that the Liberty have beaten the Aces multiple times this year, something that's already happened, but would get emphasis in the press should the Liberty pull the upset in game 2. So understand, if you're an opportunist, you're thinking, I can lock in a plus 300 that I'm not going to get later on the Liberty to win it all. And if they do win game 2, on what's really a hedge play for you, then I can come back and throw some money on the Aces to win the series when they're unpopular. Right? Because again, even if the Liberty win game 2, I don't expect them to win 3 games in a row, given how competitive these 2 teams are, given how elite these 2 teams are. Again, the only 2 teams with less than 10 losses the entire WNBA regular season. Right? The third best has 5 more losses than either of these teams, right? 5 more losses than the Liberty, who have 8 losses, and of course, 7 more losses than the Aces, who only had 6 losses. Right, so here we're just taking what the casino is giving us. Right? I have money on the Aces. I'm good. But if you're going to offer me a plus 300 and I get to hedge that liability by taking the Liberty in game 2, and if I understand who the Liberty are, only 8 losses on the season, and a casino is seriously going to give me a plus 300 on them, in a situation where by the end of the game they could easily have snatched home court advantage, folks, that's a deal. So after game 1 of the WNBA Finals, I'm hedging by taking the Liberty at a plus 300 to win the series. Let's be clear, I don't expect the Liberty to win the series. I don't. I expect the Aces to win the series. The Aces might well win game 2. But what I expect doesn't matter if I can get great odds on both sides of the play. And this is an opportunity to do just that. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. Tell us your strategy in betting on this WNBA Finals in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.